Thank you for calling Dolan Law Firm. How can I help you today?
Like, that's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, I just want to speak to someone.
Sure, what kind of issue are you calling about?
Like, it's crazy. This is so realistic to me. And we're going to understand how we can make an AI sound like the example I just showed. So to do that, we have to understand a couple basic core components of voice AI. These are the model selection, the voice selection, back channeling, and the prompt component behind it. So let's get started with the model selection. The model selection is actually probably one of the most important aspects here, and I'm going to go over what each of these would sound like on its own without any sort of agent. Now, there are basically 3, maybe 4 model types / model families. We've got the GPT family, Gemini, we've got the speech-to-speech or Claude, and speech-to-speech families. So GPT is probably your most natural sounding AI in terms of human-like. Then we've got Gemini, which is better instruction following and formality, but not so much as sounding human. Claude is in between these two, and speech-to-speech is sort of its own category. I'm going to quickly demonstrate, for example, what a GPT agent sounds like and what a Gemini agent sounds like, so you guys can hear what it is I'm talking about. So I'm going to quickly switch over to the GPT component, right? Same prompt, same everything. We're just going to go and do a quick test.
Thank you for calling Dolan Law Firm. How can I help you today?
Hey, I want to talk to someone.
Absolutely, I'm here to help. Are you looking for information about our legal services, or did you want to speak directly with an attorney about a specific issue?
So you can see this is very, to me at least, this sounds very AI-like, right? And if we use Flash, where is Flash? 2.5 Flash. Test it. Let's just see what happens.
Thank you for calling Dolan Law Firm. How can I help you today?
Hey, I want to talk to someone.
Okay, I can help you with that. Are you calling about a new legal matter or something else?
You can see that, like, hey, I can help you with that. Are you calling about new legal, or are you XYZ? That is basically very typical of what it is. But you can see how GPT has a little bit more, I guess, less AI-like pattern when it comes to the speech. And that is what I mean by the model selection. Now, the model selection here is important because it affects how you prompt the particular model selection. So GPT natively already sounds a little bit more natural, in the sense that it's able to pick up, let's say you've had a tragedy, the AI will say something like, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Now, in terms of the model you should be choosing, for the base model, I always recommend starting with GPT 4.1, right? And then if you want to use the Gemini family, Flash 2.5, Claude is Sonnet, and speech-to-speech is probably something like Flash Live 2.5. Those are the model selections that you should be looking at when you make these, when you code your AI. Now, with GPT-5, it does natively become a little bit more human-like, but it also gets a little bit dumber. Now, the next one is actually, I believe, something that a lot of people know, but not the full story. So voice selection is, as most people know, it is incredibly important, right? How it sounds and everything. So voice, you also have to understand what data is being trained on. A lot of the good voices, in quotes, right, these are trained on audiobooks, and as a result, they sound very scripted, very choppy, and unhuman-like on the phone. And this is, makes sense because that's how you source their particular data. And a lot of people think 11 Labs is the go-to, and it's yes and no, right? So I'm going to show you guys a few examples. I'm just going to go to my personal 11 Labs account, right? So there's a few things I want you guys to sort of understand. When you go to 11 Labs, right, most people would just go, let's just look at some voices I've picked. So I've got, let's say George, I've got some narration, right? So when you look for voices, in 11 Labs, one thing you have to make sure you do is make sure they're conversational, not educational, not narration. Because when you choose these types of voices, it just sounds incredibly robotic and unrealistic in a phone.
Try the unique vocals of Jefferson English on your audio.
Like, no one is going to talk like that over the phone, right? So you want to choose someone who is conversational.
Why don't skeletons ever fight each other? I thought.
Anyway, probably not the best example. English male, no accent.
Lila's watch ticked again. She never left.
Again, not the best. So you have to listen to the cadence and actually hear that it's a conversation, right? It's more like it's not really an audiobook, it's not a narration, but rather just on the phone talking to someone. And that is part of the reason I think 11 Labs is a bit hit or miss. So I'll show you guys some examples, right? So I'm going to switch over to the models, and I'm going to choose some of our 11 Labs voices, right? So I'm going to choose, I think what is a really popular one? I think Hope is fairly popular.
I totally understand.
So I'm going to use Hope. This is 11 Labs' audio, but it doesn't sound like that when you actually load it in practice.
Thank you for calling Dolan Law Firm. How can I help you today?
Hey, I want to talk to someone.
Absolutely, I can help with that. Are you looking to speak with a specific attorney, or is there a particular legal issue you'd like to discuss? Let me know a bit more so I can point you in the right direction.
So that one is a bit more reasonable, right? So I'm trying to set the scene here. I'm going to pick a different voice. I'm going to pick one that we've trained, or this alpha Texan is also a pretty good voice that we've also come across. You can add that in your 11 Labs.
Thank you for calling Dolan Law Firm. How can I help you today?
Hey, I want to speak to someone.
Absolutely, I can help with that. Are you looking to speak to an attorney about a specific legal issue, or is there something else you had in mind?
You can see here, like, that is a world of difference. Like, despite the fact that it's not as animated, but it sounds a lot more natural. So when you pick voices, it's incredibly important that you actually trial the voice. And one thing that I always tell people is, if the voice doesn't sound real, you can always increase the speed. So here's the dilemma that a lot of people will face, right? On one end, if the voice does not sound realistic, right? If you increase the speed, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to hear and to comprehend, but it masks a lot of the inconsistencies in the voice if it's able to speak faster. And this helps immensely to add the realism side of how to make the AI sound real, right? So that's point one. And point two is if your agent's doing a particular job that is sort of does not require a lot of emotion, try to pick a male voice because they're more monotone and the fluctuations are a lot less. So another piece that is important is when a lot of people love 11 Labs, and I get it, they have a massive variety of voices, but as you go more higher tier in terms of the models, it gets more inconsistent. They're more likely to hallucinate the more it tries to mimic a human behavior. Typically Turbo 2.5 is what I recommend for production level. When you go multilingual 2.5, it begins to hallucinate quite a bit in production. So I have never really recommended multilingual 2.5. And that is part of the reason I don't like 11 Labs. Because with 11 Labs in production, a lot of the voices, they become, if you just fail like 1 in 20 turns, you're going to lose that customer. And I rather AI not sound, as close as possible to 11 Labs, if it means it doesn't break, right? So we have a list of other voices. So we partner with Rhyme to generate some of these voices, and for me, it's also as realistic as you will get as well in comparison to 11 Labs, but performing much better. So as a way of example.
Thank you for calling Dolan Law Firm. How can I help you today?
Hey, I want to speak to someone.
Absolutely, I can help with that. Are you looking to speak with an attorney about a specific legal issue, or is there something else I can assist you with?
So like for me, that sounds much better than what we had before. And that is what I mean by the voice selection, right? Now that we've gotten these two out of the way, I want to quickly touch on back channeling. Back channeling is something that humans tend to do a lot. Things like, let me think, these pauses, these hesitations in the speech. So you can do this via prompt. So, and this is where it's categorized, it's lumped together with prompt. And before we continue, I just want to let everybody know we're also giving away a lifetime subscription to our white labeled agency platform. You're able to spin up production ready voice AI receptions in about 5 minutes, and you can also create outbound cold lead AI agents by connecting directly to Meta, so you don't have to do any of the integration work. All you have to do is comment on the video and like the video, and we'll select a random commenter every month from one of our past videos. A new winner will be announced in the comments of every month's first video. What I notice a lot of people do is they simply type in the prompt, add ums or ers naturally in the speech, or when you're not sure, when you're trying to answer questions, use things like like, etc., etc. And when you just prompt it like that, it doesn't work, right? Because you're forcing the AI to behave in a particular way, and it gets really annoying really quickly after you heard about 20 or 30 seconds. But instead, you should have it based on a principle approach, and this is sort of what I'm going to show you guys. So I don't personally like the back channeling because for me it sounds a little bit unprofessional, but you know, everyone, this whole thing is very subjective. Now, before we dive in, I do want to say that there are two big mistakes that I see people make that I want to address straight up. Do not add these two phrases, period, in your prompt. Never tell the agent it's helpful, because when you tell it that it's helpful, you will say things like, absolutely, I can help you with that, blah, 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 right? And do not use phrases like how to speak. The reason we don't say how to speak is because the AI doesn't actually know how to speak. Like, if you tell it this is how you speak, and you'll follow that exactly like a program, that's not how it works. Instead, what you want to do is give it an identity, let it role play. That is why a lot of voice AI is super, super good in games, right? In RPGs, in like these games that have text-to-speech built in. This is because they are much better at role-playing a particular character than they are at listening to instructions on how to speak. Now, let me go through what we've done to achieve this. Now, by way of example, I'm going to have nothing in here, which is, I have it disabled, and you can hear from before, it will say things like, oh, absolutely, I can help you with that, right? I'm going to turn it on, I'm going to ask the same question, and we can see how the AI behaves a little bit different. And then after that, I'll show you guys the prompt.
Thank you for calling Dolan Law Firm. How can I help you today?
Hey, I just want to speak to someone.
Sure. Are you looking to speak with an attorney about a specific legal issue, or did you just have some questions about the firm?
So you can see immediately that's infinitely better, right? So I'm going to show you what we did to sort of boil this out. This is something that we're still constantly working in progress, right? So we have a how you talk section, which is similar to how to speak, but I want to explain when there's a bit of confusion here. What I mean by how to speak here is people write instructions like add ers in a sentence, right? Like when you are not sure, add like that's, you don't want guided steps. Instead, you want to give a principle, right? So this is the principle. You're a real person who happens to be on a work call. You're not a customer service bot. You're not eager. You're not performing friendliness. You're just a person at work talking. You don't get excited when someone asks you a question. You just answer it. There is also one thing that you can do. If you look for leaked AI prompts, you can find ChatGPT's prompt as well. We adapted a lot of our analysis based off the leaked prompt. I don't want to show it here for particular reasons, but this is something that is publicly available that you can find online. Never compliment the conversation. A lot of AI will glaze you. This has been a known issue, right? That's fantastic. You're on the right track. Like, you just say things like that. And that's a very dead giveaway that it's an AI, right? So you wouldn't say that's a great topic to a coworker. Don't say it here. No filler comparison. Never say most people do or what's common or popular. Again, that's something that we've noticed. And one question max, often zero. So we notice that the AI likes to drag on particular conversations, right? You will add 2 or 3 questions in a particular thing. So bad, are you looking for a curry, a bread or dessert or something else? Or do you have a particular region in mind? And what kind of dish, right? So you need a second to think. Your response should sound like you're forming them in the moment. Use hesitation. Start a sentence and redirect. Say, little words humans use. Yeah, so I mean, actually, honestly, bad is origins. You can just have a read here, right? So these are some of the things that we use to make it sound more human. And as you can see, it's not overly long. It's probably like 200 or 300 tokens, but it changes the world of difference when it comes to generating the prompt. And I forgot to mention, we'll be providing this prompt in our school community. You can find it in there. We'll be updating it as we go. Probably you see updates every month, every other month as we tweak it. So this particular prompt that we've been using in production for about 6 months. This has got around about 300,000, 400,000 calls backing it, and it's worked really, really well for us. Now, one thing I do want to address is that these last two sections would depend on what model you use. We have a different prompt for every one of these models because we have to optimize for every one of these. And this is why when you use other platforms, you have to understand you're sort of almost locked in onto the platform. And for us, this has also been a big problem on our end as well, because there's a lot of work optimizing for each. And that is why on other platforms, let's say and most of the other platforms only optimize for GPT. The moment you switch off of GPT, it just doesn't work. You have to prompt it entirely different to make it work. Now, the last one I want to go to is speech-to-speech. And this is where sort of the magic shines. Speech-to-speech natively has the conversation baked into their platform. And the personality inside the speech-to-speech is already much, much better. I'm going to show you an example of speech-to-speach. So let me just switch on to Google's, because Google's is by far the best one at this, right? So I like Core in terms of the voice. I'm just going to show you guys the particular behavior of the agent.
Thank you for calling Dolan Law Firm. How can I help you today?
Hey, I just want to talk to someone.
Sure. What's the legal issue you're calling about?
I was involved in a personal injury case.
I see. Do you want to book an appointment now?
Well, I want to know what my options are. Like, how much do you cost?
We offer a free case evaluation. For a specific pricing, the team would provide a detailed quote when they call you back.
You can see how much more realistic it's the same prompt, same everything, but you can see how more realistic that is. If you add a little bit of background noise, like a call center, right, you'll sound so much more realistic.
Thank you for calling Dolan Law Firm. How can I help you today?
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, I just want to speak to someone.
Sure. What kind of issue are you calling about?
It's crazy. This is so realistic to me. But you guys get the drift. So these, when you combine these couple things together, and I guess maybe the last point is background noise, right? When you combine all of these things together, it's not one thing that makes it human. It's the combination of number of things that make it human. So the model selection, how the AI speaks, how the AI sounds, and then how the AI hesitates and how the AI back channels. These are the things, the core components that really makes it realistic. And this is how we make our AI in production. So we have to understand what industry that the person is working in, right? We have to understand how the person should speak in this particular scenario. And then once we understand all of these, we have to choose correct model and apply the right parameters and then combine all together. And then we have something that is indistinguishable. I could promise you that if you combine all of these particular elements, your AI detection rate will go from something like 50 to 60% to less than 30%. So in our personal experience, about less than 1 in 3 people can actually detect that it's an AI. When we just send it for a POC and let people test it, it's like 2 out of 3. So it's a drastic difference. I hope this has been helpful. This has been pretty requested on our side. All the best.